welcome.
Whispers of Oxenfurt is a podcast dedicated to the Witcher universe by Polish author Andrzej Sapkowski. All music is from the Witcher 3 soundtrack and sound effects from the Witcher card game. I'm your impetuous host, Brett, and today we are taking a trip to
Dol Blathana!
to dance with the devil in the bright sunlight with some angry elves. It's a pretty straightforward tale, and there's not much to break down. But after the summary, I will analyze parts of the story I thought worked and those that did not. This should be pretty brisk, so let's get goings with The Edge of Sevold. We begin in the village of Upper Posada, no relation to the former Yankee catcher, with Geralt looking for work and Dandelion getting some beers. Dandelion, not Dandelion, not Dandelion, as it's in the audiobooks, Dandelion. Okay, so each are doing what they do best. When it becomes apparent that there are no actual leads, Geralt unleashes a torrent of philosophical thought. People, Geralt turned his head, like to invent monsters and monstrosities. Then they seem less monstrous themselves when they get blind drunk, cheat, steal, beat their wives, starve an old woman, when they kill a trapped fox with an axe, or riddle the last existing unicorn with arrows. They like to think that the bane entering cottages at daybreak is more monstrous than they are. They feel better then. They find it easier to live. After departing the town, they are chased down by Netley, who says he has work for them, but wants to speak at his home in Upper Posada, which actually is in relation to the Yankee catcher. The town elder, Dunn, tells them that a devil has been prowling in the fields. Dandelion protests that no such things exist, but Geralt agrees to check it out anyway. The devil emerges, and Dandelion can't help but crack jokes at him. The creature responds, very maturely, by hucking iron balls at them. His aim is true, and the duo run away. Geralt meets back with Netley and Dunn and learns that the devil is in fact a Sylvan. Their efforts to get rid of it involved attempting to feed it iron balls disguised as food. Whoops. Two women join them, one of which is a skinny teenage girl, which Geralt senses something about her. The Witcher goes back and confronts the Sylvan, who demonstrates his multilingual capabilities in the Old Tongue and the Dwarven language. He says he will not leave, as he likes it here. He declares that Geralt will need to solve a riddle. The Witcher doesn't try to solve it at all, and eventually tells him what we know as the Golden Rule: do unto others as you would have them do unto you. At which point he then hurls an iron ball at the Sylvan, striking him straight between the horns. They spend a few minutes kicking and insulting each other in, as Geralt puts it, a ridiculous manner. He hears hoofbeats and assumes Dandelion is finally there to help, but nah. He gets knocked down and out by two unidentified riders. Geralt awakens, tied up, and hears the Sylvan speaking with someone named Galar, who refers to the Sylvan as Torque. Dandelion, in his usual helpful manner, is bound as well. A female elf comes up to taunt the two.
I like the way you die, human.
Her name is Teruviel, and she is pissed. She smashes Dandelion's loot and repeatedly threatens and assaults Geralt. He gets the better of her by knocking her down and headbutting her, apparently breaking her nose. Torque protests, them killing Geralt, but it is moot as Filavandrel rides up and stops the matter.
Pride is all we've left.
Geralt figures out that Filavandrel, the elven leader, has enlisted Torque to steal from the humans and give to the elves. The elves were forced from Dol Blathana into the mountains where they are starving. Geralt and Dandelion are simply paying for past crimes humans have committed against them. Geralt and Filavandrel speak about the nature of coexistence, which the elf says is impossible on human terms. Despite Torque's protests, saying this wasn't part of the deal, they draw their bows and are about to execute the two when Lil, the skinny teenage girl from the village, makes a rather grand appearance as she floats to them. She is treated with veneration by the elves, who all bow to her, the queen of the fields, as she's surrounded by a doe, a hedgehog, and garlands, and just radiant energy. She looks over the bound duo as Torque unties them. The queen appears to be speaking telepathically with Filavandrel, who pleads that she come with them. As the elves saddle up to leave, Teruviel gives Dandelion a new lute, and Filavandrel says that they will meet again in battle, and he hopes Geralt won't let him down. Geralt responds with, "I'll try."
Observe a master in action.
Thank you, Dandelion. So let's start with talking about you. He is the traditional comic relief sidekick, but not really so. I probably shouldn't call him traditional. He really offers no help, and Geralt constantly corrects or chastises him, but in a humorous way. This is our introduction, but it's far more interesting to find out why Geralt relies on him for anything other than a drinking companion. Geralt constantly rolls his eyes and tells him to shut up, as Dandelion's mouth causes enough trouble in this story alone. He makes fun of local townspeople, taunts Torque upon meeting him, and even runs his mouth at the elves when Geralt was trying to get him freed. In the original Polish, his name is Jaskier, which apparently translates to dandelion or buttercup. So that's why they just did a literal translation. But why not use Jaskier? I guess the same reason Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone was changed to Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone, even though the Philosopher's Stone is real, if you will. I guess it's just a distrust in the American audience to find out a name as difficult as Jaskier. I'll be completely honest, though, why do people say that? As it implies that I haven't been honest before now. But I have been completely honest. Not sure why I would make a podcast and then lie to the audience about it. Anyway, I don't really care for this story. It has some comic relief, which is fine. Dandelion is a dumbass, but Geralt as his straight man works. I liked when the elves came and it was about the racial issues and what they were suffering through. They are seen as terrorists to humans, but they kind of have a point. Then the story ends, though. Actually, I didn't even talk about the final chapter, as it seemed better to end on Geralt's conversation with Filavandrel. I didn't like that these two together. I wish it would have been either just a screwball comedy where, they get into trouble and they kind of get out of it, or a serious one in the vein of The Lesser Evil, where it dug deep into the psyche of the characters. The Deus Ex Machina at the end, where the Queen of the Fields arrives and saves Geralt, I didn't really care for either. It's just your typical, oh, geez, how are they going to get out of this? Oh, they do nothing to deserve it and are just lucky. It was unearned. Geralt and Dandelion both also witness a literal existing deity. Well, religion is complicated in The Witcher, but, how do you see her and are just like, okay, we'll just kind of move on with it. But I guess in a world with magic, miracles don't really exist. I'm probably being too harsh on this story, as it comes on the heels of some excellent ones, but with each episode, we get ever so closer to the novels. Please send all comments, questions, and suggestions to witcherpodcast@gmail.com. I plan on using the Twitter account more as well, and that is @witcherpodcast. Next time on Whispers of Oxenfurt, we reach the final short story in The Last Wish, where we get to meet another major character close to Geralt, and if you know what I mean by close.
You crossed the wrong sorceress!
And that is my cue to leave. Next episode is The Last Wish. Bye!